race to watch today is Ohio's Republican Senate primary. Trump-backed senatorial candidate Bernie Moreno up against State Senator Matt Dolan, who is backed by Republican Governor Mike DeWine. Mollie Hemingway joins us now. Mollie, key question, I think. What happens if Trump's candidate loses?
Well, this is a very close race in Ohio, so that could happen. Moreno is up in the polls a little bit here, so he might be able to pull it off. But more than anything, I think the bigger picture for 2024 is that the Senate needs to have better members in it, and that's on both sides of the aisle. It has been a very ineffective Senate for the country in terms of improving the situation economically, with foreign policy, or with other big issues. So whoever Ohio Republicans pick, they will also have a tough race in the general, and it will dictate a lot about how well things go in the future.
Next one, Mollie. It seems we have a rivalry between President Biden and Barack Obama. According to Axios, Biden often brags to his staff about doing better than his predecessor, saying, quote, Obama would be jealous, end quote. Meanwhile, Obama just met with Britain's Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, yesterday. Is Obama undermining Biden's campaign?
It's always been weird how involved Barack Obama is, not just in Democrat politics, but also in the country, never leaving Washington, D.C. after his term in office ended. And I think he wanted this Biden presidency to be his third term, a continuation of what he did. It has been that in many ways. He has no right to be upset. The problem is that just as it was during the Barack Obama presidency, Americans don't feel as good about what's going on as Barack Obama did. The economy was struggling during his presidency and is once again now. The foreign policy was something of a mess and continues to be. And so I think he's upset that Joe Biden is not doing a better job with handling the legacy of the Obama-Biden presidencies, but that's just a reality that happens with these policies.
Do you think Barack Obama, in the background, fairly quietly, is trying to ease Biden out before November?
I think all smart Democrats are concerned about the situation. Obviously, President Biden has horrifically low approval ratings, and the track record of his policies is not meeting with approval. The problem is he's a very difficult person to oust. He doesn't want to go anywhere. His vice president is even less popular than he is. There aren't a lot of good alternatives. It's very difficult to get rid of them. But I would remind everybody, Barack Obama had a key role to play in getting Biden the nomination. Obviously, he didn't want Biden to run immediately after his presidency ended, but he really helped him in 2020. And so he will be involved in whatever they do to fix the mess they're in.
It's a mess. Mollie Hemingway, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
See you